It's the Two Gems Podcast.
Actually, I'm literally a little bit tipsy. I haven't eaten, don't forget. And I had a cold stream. Pop it open, hon. That's how the episode starts.
You like glazed your eyes over there.
Matt was upstairs having a shower to reassess his life, and I was down here, and I haven't eaten yet today, and I just drank a cold stream, so I'm feeling good.
To reassess my life?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that further, Sheridan?
Well, we already started the episode, and it didn't go well, according to me, so I made Matt stop, and he didn't like that, and now we're starting again.
Well, that's our first ever hard restart. You didn't like my intro, so...
And how are you now?
All right.
Good.
I made a couple little gags, and then Sheridan wasn't appreciative of them, so then I threw a hissy fit and went in a shower and ate some lunch.
You ate lunch?
Yeah, I did.
Great. So you're good for your cold stream.
I'm good here now.
While I was sitting here, though, just thinking about my life and our relationship.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. But
we're just friends now. We've separated.
surprise. No, I still have comments trickling in on my post yesterday.
What was your post yesterday?
My post yesterday was talking about love languages.
Oh, right.
And I think that is something that we should definitely touch on. But first, let's quickly talk about traveling with kids, because we just did a round trip. We went to Ottawa, and for those of you that don't know, although I'm assuming at this point only people that know us listen to this, but we traveled from Halifax to Ottawa and stayed there for 10 days and then came back. And we did both of them at different times. And we learned a couple things, I would think. So the first time we decided to leave at like 4 p.m., I think it was, right? We picked the kids up from...
something like that, 2:30 or 3 or something like that. Yeah.
So problem number one was that Sage had just woken up from a nap from daycare, because we picked him up from daycare. And then we picked the kids up from a babysitter, and we just took off. And the plan originally was that I was going to drive for the first chunk, and then Matt was going to drive throughout the night. But that did not happen because Matt did not fall asleep or get any rest at all. So we ended up stopping in Edmundston, which is about 6 hours in. Totally fine, just wasn't expected, but I'm really glad that you actually said, let's stop. I don't feel comfortable driving through. Like, I'm not going to make it. And actually, so the pool closed at 10, and we got there at like 9:30. I woke the kids up because they were already sleeping. I love our kids. They're just like, yeah, I want to go in the pool at 9:30 at night.
Yeah, Theo.
Yeah, so they hopped in, and then we slept, woke up, and then drove the rest of the way. And we were in Ottawa at like what? I'm trying to remember.
It was like 1 or something like that, I think.
And it was okay. Like, the drive was okay. There was a lot of noise and crying and things. Obviously, you throw your kids in the car for 14 hours. What do you expect? Like, it makes sense. And they were the best they could have been. But on the way back, Matt has driven that drive a couple of times without me because he wanted his four-wheeler over in Ontario. And let's not even talk about my traumatic airport experience last year, because that was enough to make me decide I wanted to drive for 14 hours with the kids. So you know it was bad. But you've done that a couple times, and your best game plan was leaving at like 2 a.m. And you're wondering, is that going to work for the kids? And we tried it out. And It was much more successful, beyond Montreal being an actual pile of shit to get through, which it always is. And you woke me up a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the drive sucks no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone debates about this. Like, I don't know what time vortex they hit. Like, you sit there and say it's 12 hours. It's not 12 hours. Like, unless you're driving a Top Gun Maverick plane, like, it does not take 12
Great
hours.
Movie.
It like that drive, we left at 1:30 in the morning on Friday morning. So that would have been 2:30 Halifax time, and we were here at
4:30. That's 14 hours. Yeah, did I say 12?
Well, everyone has a different opinion on it. Some people are like, it's 11 and a half.
Right.
Oh, I did it in 12 and a half. It's like, if you did it in 12 and a half hours,
you're
then
crazy.
like you had to have been driving 180 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, also
we were
though now
going-
in Quebec,
we were cruising
in
and
Quebec they have all that stuff blocked off now and stuff to make the double highway. I'm assuming. So at certain points you're down to like 80 kilometers
yeah,
an
I
hour.
suppose. Yeah, if you factor that in.
But needless to say, the kids did an amazing job on the way back. They slept basically from when you plopped them in. They didn't wake up or anything. And like Theo, you had to force him awake at 8 a.m. And the only reason we did that is because he wanted to stop for breakfast. And you're like, I need to get out of here and stretch my legs.
Yeah.
And then we were halfway there, and we woke up and we're like, guys, we're already halfway. This is great.
Yeah.
So my advice for traveling with kids is to leave as early as you possibly can so that they sleep a lot and then move along.
Yeah.
How you doing, hon?
I'm all right.
You okay?
I'm all right.
You tired?
A little
We're
bit.
just recouping. I feel like we're coming back from all the things. Like I said to you yesterday, I'm exhausted. You're like, well, yeah, duh. Like we've done so much stuff in the last couple of months, and now we're just, well, we're not even done. We're off to Shetty Camp on Friday. What day is it today? Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. But we're obviously very lucky to be able to do that with our jobs and what we're able to do. So far, Matt said one word. But as I was saying, the post that I posted yesterday, and that happened while we were on vacation. So when I was driving, I don't exactly remember what started the argument. Do you? But I said something to you like, oh my God, Matt, just write it down. We'll talk about it later. Like, but what started it?
I don't know. It's just been like a little bit of funk lately. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like,
would you like to pull up your note?
No, I mean, you can read it all over my face right now. It's just been exhausting. We just push ourselves to the limit every minute of every day.
Right,
like,
but
we got home from Ottawa, and like literally like 7 hours later we were driving to Chester, and like we just push ourselves constantly.
Right.
Like I worked last night till 11:30 at night. I went up to bed. I was up working at like 4:00 this morning, down here grinding, and like it's just, we just go so hard all the time that it's just, I think, I mean, you take 2 weeks off work and call it a vacation, but like, is it a vacation when you're traveling?
Never.
It's
just parenting
there
somewhere
and back
different.
was like 3,200 kilometers or something.
Right.
And then like all the driving to Quebec to get to the cottage and everything. And yeah, like you said, I mean, we're very fortunate to be in a position in life to be able to do those things and have those luxuries, and the price of gas right now to even be able to afford to move a vehicle out of the driveway. But I've just been burnt out lately, which may not like translate the best into a podcast, but I just feel burnt out. And then that translates in our relationship. I mean, you get exhausted and,
absolutely.
and yeah, I think like, it's kind of shitty to say it, but I think sometimes what ends up happening is you turn a blind eye to the person next to you, and you have to show up to work every day.
Excuse me.
Like that's just a given. You have to make money. You have to show up to work. So like you bring your best to work every day because that's what you have to do, and you have to be there for your children, because if you're not there for your children, you're like, I'm going to take a night off making dinner. It's like they'll starve and die.
Right.
Like work and the kids come first. I think first, second, they alternate, whatever. But I think that oftentimes what happens is people's relationships take a back seat when in actuality, if for me anyway, if my relationship with you isn't good, then everything else falls apart. I do a less good job. I'm less creative. So I bring less of a good version of me to my clients, and then I bring a shitty version of me to the kids. It's like to me, I think the most important thing in this world is keeping a happy relationship for the king and the queen of the house, and then everything else just kind of falls into place. So I don't know. I just feel like lately me and you have been kind of,
that's where it starts.
Probably burnt out
Yeah.
and hitting the wall a little bit.
But in terms of you saying like everything else kind of is shitty if we're not good, that makes sense, because that's where it starts, right, with me and you, and then it goes down to the kids and it goes to our environment and stuff like that. So that makes, of course, a lot of sense. So what happened when we were driving to Ottawa? I wish I could remember what pissed you off for me to just say, just write it down. But I didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't actually think that Matt would write a note of things that were pissing him off or that had been bothering him lately. And then when we were up at the cottage, Sage, who was obsessed with four-wheeler videos, was watching something, and anyway, he got out of it obviously, and he sent it to me, and I started like closing the apps. You know, when you swipe up and start closing them, and I just saw this
obsession with closing
I know.
apps.
I can't have an app open. Who can leave an app open? That's crazy behavior.
I've never closed an app in my life.
That's nuts.
Unless it's frozen. But
so I was swiping them closed, and I see this note, and I'm like, oh my, what is Matt chatting about here? And
it ain't a love note.
No, this isn't a love note. And I read it, and I actually thought to myself, like, should I read this or should I leave it? But I mean, how are you supposed to turn your eyes to that, right? Like, it's staring me right in the face. I'm like, let's close it for another time.
You
Yeah.
didn't even, not even 0.5% of you was thinking about closing.
Sorry, I have to pull my shorts down. It's always hard with jean shorts on. No, that's not true. I did actually think about
nosy Nancy over there. No
I
way.
thought about it for a sec, but then of course I read it. And I'm not mad that I read it because I don't know if you would have expressed it to me otherwise, do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I had every intention on talking about it with you.
Yeah. Well, Matt,
I probably would have like softened it up a little bit. Like it was basically just like a Cole's notes of me taking a shit on my phone screen at you. Like it wasn't like it wasn't. It wasn't expressed in a very elegant way. It was, and so you reading it probably in like my voice, just being like this fucking guy. Like,
right. It was a lot. There's a lot, but you know, you break it down, and I actually take away the meanness of it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all of these points are valid. And I know, and I'm confident in our relationship to know that like you're not going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere. So
should we bring my notes up?
Are you going to read that?
I mean, we don't have to like go through word for word, but I mean like
everyone will see how shitty I am.
No. Everyone's zooming in on it. No, but it was
sum it up.
Well, we can go through. It's in bullet points.
Sorry,
so
I
like
just
one of the first
wait a minute before you start going hard on me at the notes. I have realized
we're reborn now that we're going through it. You're forced to talk to me about it now.
I have realized throughout my social media and for what I bring to my audience that probably one of the things that people like the most and appreciate the most is when I talk about our relationship. And I think that's because it's nice to feel relatable in a lot of other ways, like about my body positivity and about being a mom and stuff like that. And I can appreciate that. But I think on the relationship like aspect, people just really like to know they're not alone in their relationships and the struggles that they go through. Yeah. And that as much as social media shines a light and you're always posting your beautiful photos about like happy anniversary, babe, or whatever, this and that like behind closed doors, we're all trying to work through our relationship, our marriage, our whatever we have going on. And that, you know, social media has a tendency of making it feel that's okay. Like everything is so wonderful all the time, right? And it's not. And I think that me being able to talk about that and do it openly, where some people might shy away from it and not want to talk about the struggles they're going through. And I'm happy to do it because I know at the end of the day, like you're my person, I love you. We're not going anywhere. And it's nice to let other people know that they're not alone in that.
For sure.
And I can see that with the comments that come in and people saying like, thank you for being honest and open about this. I actually had quite a few people send me direct messages saying, oh my gosh, I am Matt. You are my partner. I'm going to try and write a note and see how it goes.
What would happen if two people, like if I was with someone that was like me? Would it be glorious? I don't know. Wasn't Caitlin's thing my thing?
Yeah.
God, Caitlin, are we soulmates actually? I don't know.
No, but...
Or would it suck?
I don't know.
Just touching each other.
I'm not sure. Just permanently close and snuggling.
Caitlin, stop rubbing my nips.
We just have a perfect. I just have a perfect home. We're just rigidly walking through. Hello.
Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah, bowing as you. Yeah. Hello. Everything's in place.
Well, it seems like more often than not, from what I'm understanding, is that people aren't with people that have the same love language, and that's probably why they came up with the love languages, the 5 different love languages. And I actually think, I don't know if you can do this, I'm sure you can on YouTube, drop a link for a quiz, because a couple people messaged me asking what quiz I took to know what love languages we were. So let's leave the quiz so that people can do it and get their partner to do it. And I think you learn a lot when you figure out the person's love language. I'm serious, because once you did yours, it was almost like a light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, okay. So all Matt wants is for me to tell him that I think he looks handsome, to give him
That's not it.
No, but words of affirmation, right? You want to know that you're loved and you feel...
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with you thinking that I'm handsome.
No,
well, maybe a couple percentage points, but that's not what it is.
No, I know.
There's just like a vibe.
Right.
And like... you know, how they say, like, actions speak louder than words, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you can sit there and say that shit, your words of affirmation, but, like, the vibe that you're putting out. And, like, when you've got this vibe that you're just, like, that all I do is piss you off or something like that, you know, I can read you, Sheridan. I mean, like anyone can. They can read their partner. Read you like a damn book.
But
Are you trying to fill 90 minutes without getting into my
No,
into my
you
note,
have
or what?
to keep in mind, too, though, that, like, my dad even wrote on that caption, and he said, I can vouch for this. Sheridan has never really been a big hugger or whatever. Like, she's changed a lot and, you know, is better at it. But, like, this is who she is, right? And I was thinking about it.
When he wrote that yesterday on the thing. Yeah, okay.
And
sorry.
I think that in the past, when you're not in overly serious relationships, but you're there and you're in a relationship with somebody, that maybe it can almost even come off as, like, playing hard to get, or I don't know how to describe it, but, like, maybe it was almost like a turn on in the past for past relationships. It's like, oh, Sheridan is, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
seems a little immature, but sure.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that because I wasn't in a full, like, you have to keep in mind, I've never been
I know
in
what you're saying. Yeah.
a full-fledged relationship where I was living with somebody constantly. Like, you are seeing me in my rawest, truest form. Like, you are with me all of the time. Whereas before, maybe I could, like, turn it on for certain times, or right?
That's a good point.
Whereas I can't do that now because I'm with you 24/7.
You can never turn it off.
Right.
Because we work together, we sleep together, we eat together, we work together. Did I say work twice? We're literally always together.
I know.
I just showered upstairs.
I know.
I was away from you for 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, where were you? Could you have come up and said, I love you through the curtain?
Do you want to read your note? I'm not ashamed. Or at least
I'm not gonna sit here like destroy you with my Apple Note.
Yeah.
But I think, like, touching on the love language thing for a sec too is like, what good is it if you don't acknowledge the other person's thing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you just walk around and you're just self-centered and turning a blind eye to what your partner wants, needs, I don't know what bucket it would fall under, but, you know, and it happens. It's going to happen. You can't just walk around every minute of every day trying to please somebody, but just acknowledging what it is that they appreciate in life and playing into it a bit sometimes.
I think sometimes too, you know, when you're, like you said, I think you said this, unless I was just thinking in my head, but, you know, you're with that.
Brilliant?
No, you're with that person all the time. So, you know, like how you go out to work and you're your best version and you're this and that, and then you come home and you might take something out on your partner because you know, or at least you think, you know, they're not going anywhere. So what's that expression? You've said that to me before, where, like, you take things out on the person that you love the most because they're so close to you, because you feel comfortable with them, this and that, what have you. But I think what you said is a great point about how you have to acknowledge what the other person wants. And even last night, you know, like, you sent me a message saying, like, thank you for trying. And I was giving you kisses and saying stuff like this. And yeah, it is a conscious effort. I have to say in my brain, okay, Sheridan, don't just walk downstairs and get a coffee and move along with your life and be like, how was your sleep? That's not what Matt wants. Matt wants you to go up and give him a hug.
Oh my God.
Well, you do.
You're making me seem like some little whiny baby that needs a hug.
First of all, it's not a whiny baby to want a hug in the morning.
No, but
it's not.
It's other things. It's like the other day you were playing with the kids in the living room. Mm-hmm. And you were playing with them. Mm-hmm. You were, like, being childish with them and being funny and goofing around, and the kids were all laughing at her and they were looking at you like mom's having fun with us right now. Like that. Like, just, like, breaking the mold of just cleaning and shit. Like, just go, like sometimes it just seems like all you do is you wake up, you make lunches, you work all day, then you go pick the kids up, and then we get in dinner mode, and then you clean all that shit up, and then you lay in bed and read your book for 5 minutes and go to sleep. When like, on the flip side of things, like, I think you look at what I'm doing, and I'm swimming with the kids 1,000 times a day and trying to keep them entertained and show them that, you know, it's okay to have fun through all stages of life. You can be almost 40 years old and still be a goof and let loose a little bit. And the other day when you let loose in the living room, I was like, that was such a turn on for me. And I don't mean like a sexual thing. I just mean, like, I was just looking at you like, that's the woman I married. Mm. And I think it's something I think that happens with motherhood. You get inundated with so many tasks and little, like, micro jobs all day that it takes the fun out of the woman that you once were.
Totally.
And that'll probably resonate with a lot of people listening to this right now. Man, there was that woman up in Ottawa made a comment on the YouTube video, and she talked about that. And I can't remember her name. Anyway, just men tend to do the big things. Like, I'll make sure that like your car batteries change and you have winter tires on and those kinds of things. But a woman, like, you organize all the summer camps. You make sure that they have what they need to eat at the summer camps. You make sure, there's so many like little things that as a man I don't even think about.
Well, I was sitting with my dad at the cottage and we were outside looking out at the water, and I was explaining to him, like, this is a perfect example. I'm like, I'm not just sitting here. That's what I said to him. I said, I'm not just sitting here looking out at the water. I'm thinking, okay, Sage needs his diaper changed. It's been really full. I need to go make noodles for Kaya. I need to make sure that Theo's happy. Like, I had so many things on my mind that 1 second that I'm never not thinking those things 100%. And even right now, like, I don't know about you, but knowing that our kids are at a camp that they're not happy about, it's the only thing I'm thinking of today. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I hope Kai's making some friends. I know that would make her happier. Did she eat her lunch? Like, these are things that are on my mind. Are they on your mind?
A little bit, yeah.
But not in the same way.
But see, this is the thing. This is the great debate.
Right.
It's like, what is more important? Like, when you're gone, things move along just fine.
I'm not saying
the kids are fed. I mean, the house is more dirty, like very dirty, but the kids are happy. We're drinking slush puppies. We're at beaches. We're doing things. Like, the world keeps spinning without mom doing all those jobs. So I think for me, one of the things that really makes me happy is seeing you happy. Like, when you're smiling, and I'm not talking about like, hey, Matt, and like giving me your little like, I know it was love language, so I'm going to give him a hug kind of thing. Now, like, I'm talking about when you're being silly and loving life and being happy and swimming. You went to the cottage and you swam one time. You're the mermaid.
I know. I think
I miss that.
And I think, and I get that. And this episode is interesting because I think we're just really having a conversation about you and I as
for sure
partners. And you're making me like think about things and try and come up with answers. But I think because it's true, I used to be a really fun person and I loved
volleyball and swimming and dancing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because now I feel like I have all these extra responsibilities and I feel like there's always constant weight on my shoulders that it's hard for me to get into that mindset. Like, it's really hard for me to explain it because you're right, I only went into the water one time. But while you guys were in the water and having a good time, I'm trying to organize dinner and I'm trying to clean. And you're sitting there on the other side saying, who cares? Like, dinner will be made after and this and that.
It's going to get made.
But all I'm saying is I don't really know how to flip that switch over to being the fun one and doing this. And it's too bad because I always thought when I was a kid and when I'd have kids that I would be a really fun parent. And I am sometimes, but I'm also just, the parent that brings comfort and does cuddles and does this and does bath time and, just vastly different than the things that you do. And it is too bad. And I do wish. But
is that who you are in your heart, or is that who you're being because I've put that on you by not doing those things? And I cuddle a lot, by the way, and I do baths. No, too. So
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think that if the roles were reversed and you did everything the way that I did it, I would happily do all of the other things. But that will never happen.
Well, it won't happen because I don't give a shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, some of those things I think are just mundane, stupid things that don't even need to be done anyway.
But they do need to be done. That's just
no,
life.
because here's the thing, though. Like, I'm just going to make up a story right now. Let's say we were going to watch movies 2 times in the theater on Saturday, which would never happen. Let's just say we were.
Okay.
And we were going to watch one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we go in the morning, we put a movie on, and like we're snuggling in blankets, and we have popcorn and stuff like that. And then but when we know we're going to go back in there in 3 hours and watch another movie, we had a plan to do it and everything. I would leave the blankets all messy on the couch, and I'd leave the popcorn bowl there. We'll refill it in a couple hours when we have it again. And we can leave the cups on the table because we're just going to refill them in a few hours. You would load the dishwasher up with the stuff. You'd pour out all the popcorn. You'd clean the bowl up. You'd go in there and fold the blankets and everything, knowing damn well that we're going to be right back in there, but you can't live with that. You have to have those Yeah, let me finish this. You have to have those tasks going all the time. But then at the same time, it's like that 3 hours could have been spent, rather than cleaning and all that stupid stuff, that time could have been spent like with those fleeting moments with the kids as they're growing so fast every day, like outside throwing a Frisbee with them, or like just doing fun stuff. And I know you know that's true because you would do that.
Well, first of all, when it comes to the movie stuff, our children will not last longer than 20 minutes.
I just made up a story.
No, but that's
saying that
that,
as an
that
example.
example's fine, because then you're going to go into the room and the kids are going to take their drinks and spill them on the couch and do this and that. So my brain is thinking, better clean up so I don't have to clean up an even bigger mess. And then, you know, thinking about going outside and playing Frisbee, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe there's certain things I do want to do, but maybe I genuinely don't want to. And when you go outside and you play the Frisbee with the kids for those 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I can just sit down and read my book or something.
I'm not trying to shit on you.
Oh, I know.
That's not what I'm trying to do right now. If I'm trying to paint this you with this brush that like this suck brush of someone that just never did, like that's not what I'm trying to do.
You're just saying that you miss the old Sheridan that would have more fun and be more spontaneous and do other things. Right now, this is not me crying.
Wow, I got a tear now.
No, I have water in my eyes, but yeah, and. Did I expect to run a household like this? No. Did I think that my brain would have difficulty with things not being put away properly? Or do you know how hard it is for me to walk out of our room? Like even today, we were in a rush. We were late for camp. And all I'm thinking in my head is, our bed is not made upstairs. Our bed is not made upstairs. Oh my God, Sharon, just walk out the door. Just walk out the door. Don't worry about it. Could I? Nope. I had to go upstairs and make the stupid bed. I fight those battles in my head all the time. So it's not like I'm trying to be some, you know, robot just going through the motions and sucking. I literally can't do it. Like I can't, you leaving that mess, like as I mentioned in COVID, I was somehow able to just like get outside of my brain and close the door because I'm like, I have no other choice here. But I just can't. I know in my head right now that dishwasher is clean and I need to empty it.
I emptied it.
No, you didn't. I know.
God, no, I didn't.
I'm just like, even I honestly can't explain it. And maybe people can relate, but like, even your truck, when I know it's messy and I don't even step foot in it, I'm like, oh, I need to go clean out Matt's truck. It's driving me crazy in my brain. Like stuff like that, you know what, in a way you're kind of lucky that you don't have to deal with those thoughts. Actually quite lucky, I think, because they're...
Well, maybe it has to be something where you need to do an extra... This conversation is like almost borderline pointless because it's just like internal reflecting that you need to do. But if you look at your brain like a hard drive, like a computer hard drive, and there's only like, let's say 500 gigabytes of space in your brain.
Right.
Like how much of that space do you want to fill up with shit?
Well, maybe I need to go and talk to somebody about it and see if there's some sort of something I can take for it, because obviously with my ADD, which somebody actually asked in a question saying like how, which is kind of relevant to what we're talking about right now, but how do you handle your marriage when you have ADD and your partner doesn't? And I think ADD, I'm certainly not a doctor, but I wonder if it also kind of coincides with what else I have going on in my brain and like things needing to be particular in a certain type of way for my brain to like slow down a little bit. I don't know the answer to that, but yes, a lot of internal reflecting and certainly something to think about and look into, because, you know, if you notice it and you're saying these types of things, what are the kids thinking, right? And like I've made, now this is what we live with, is that dad's the fun one, right? And I think more often than not, if I were to ask a poll on my stories right now, who's the fun one, mom or dad? I'd say it's probably going to go 75% dad.
Oh, I bet you more than that.
85% dad, right?
I bet you more than that.
Well, I guess we're going to find out.
And the thing is that's the sad truth.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a thing where men need to step it up more and do more, or if it's something where
excuse me,
some of these tasks just don't need to happen.
Well, of course they need to happen.
They don't need to happen. No, they don't.
Well,
it's not like you're sitting here saying that you can't live with yourself if my truck's dirty. You don't even go in my truck.
But that's not
don't
anything.
Worry about
that's
my
not
truck.
anything about motherhood. That's my personality and me personally. Not every woman is like that. I'm telling you the battle that I struggle with every day. So you can understand it a little bit, really.
Yeah.
It's not like I sit there being like, I'd fucking love to empty the dishwasher and take out the trash and do the... I'm not sitting there like all excited and amped up to do it. No. Would I rather be sitting around? Maybe I'm not throwing a frisbee, but maybe I'm coloring with Kaya or something. Yes, but my brain can't stop when I'm sitting there coloring with her, thinking of all the other things I have to do. So I'm talking about me personally, not motherhood.
So here's the thing. If those are the things that you're going to do, then I don't think how to word this. Like, for me, I think if you were like to distill down like, how I
Can't
feel.
wait.
No, how I feel.
Read your note.
No, just if you were to distill down how I feel about life, I really feel like the purpose of life is collecting smiles. I've kind of like used that analogy before. Like just making sure that you spend as much of your time smiling and laughing and doing things that you enjoy in this world. So if you were doing all those things and dancing around like freaking Mary Poppins and just absolutely loving it and singing in her, and be like, man, she's quite content doing this. But like when you're walking around like Ursula through the house and just absolutely despising things while doing it, it's like, then we got to flip the script. So if I need to do more, then let me know. Because I feel like I do a lot. Like I don't stop. Like I just finished saying 20 minutes ago, I was up working at 4 a.m. this morning. Like I also go, it's just at different stuff. But if you look at like, if you look at me, I think on a day-to-day basis, I think you'd say, yeah, this guy's just like laughing and smiling all the time. And
you also have to keep in mind though too that you're a really happy person and you're genuinely and generally quite a content guy, and that's great for you, but not everybody feels that way. Obviously we all struggle. Well, we don't necessarily all struggle. I know you have, even thinking back to COVID and when the pandemic was happening and all that kind of stuff, you had a really, really hard time. So now imagine that and how you felt. And then imagine people feeling like that on their day-to-day and trying to work through those things, right? So no, like I even remember when your mom was living here and you would say to her like, Deli, get up and just kick the air. And finally I had somebody to look at and she would be like, is this really? And I was like, yeah, every day he tells me to get up and kick the air. Like it's not necessarily realistic for everybody, right? Like that's you and that's wonderful and that's great. And you definitely radiate some of that off onto me. But we're just not the same. In that sense. That's
okay.
No, I know.
I'm not sitting there saying that everyone needs to be robotically happy.
Of course.
What I'm saying is that I think, oh man, God, sometimes I wish I could write this down before I say it, but I think that sometimes like happiness can be sort of a environmental kind of circumstantial kind of thing where it's like you win the lottery, you're really happy, or you just had sex, you're really happy kind of thing. But then other times I think as life goes on, like do you think when I'm up at, well, I guess I genuinely am because I really like what I do, but like when I'm up at 4 a.m. with my eyes bleeding at my computer screen, like I had to like find that happiness somewhere in my life and manifest more of that.
Right.
So I think that was a really bad example because I really love what I do, but what just happened? Okay, so we're at the cottage on the weekend. Theodore wants to go swimming for the 50,000th time at the cottage, and we had eaten dinner. It's cooling off. I would rather do anything than get back in that water and get cold again after I was dry and I'm done and everything. I've been swimming all day, blah, blah. And Theodore's looking at me. He's like, Dad, come on. Come swimming, Dad. Do it. Do it, Dad. Do it. And then I was like, all right, I'm getting back in the water. And then Theo and I had the best fucking time getting in the water again at like 7:30 at night, laughing together, father, son, laughing. Like, you have to muscle through it sometimes and do things that don't really seem like that great. And then all of a sudden you like find these amazing little moments in time that are actually incredible. So I don't know. I think we're getting sort of off topic right now.
Not really.
But
I think this is actually great advice.
I miss you sometimes. I miss the you that was you before the 3 kids sucked every last thing out of your nips and dried you right out to friggin' all your fun gone and everything and like leached off. Like I miss you. I think that oftentimes you'll sit there and say that my love language is like he wants a kiss and he wants me to say I swear to God, I shouldn't say I don't care about that because I do, but the thing that would make me the happiest man in the whole world is seeing you happy. That's what I want from you. And the other day when you were playing with the kids in the living room, I saw like this glimmer of like raw happiness. And the kids were dancing around you like Cinderella, and it was so much fun. And I just saw Sheridan without the rag in your hand and all that shit. I miss that.
Yeah.
A lot. And I love you.
I love you too.
I love you a lot.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well,
no, that's, sometimes you don't want to hear things like that because I think too, I wrote in my post, I said it's not a competition. I love you too. It's not a competition. It's a collaboration, right? And I think sometimes I'm resentful. Like I get resentful, and it's not fair because you do a lot. You do a lot, and you're a great dad, and you support us financially, and like that's just like little things, but you do so much. And then I just think about all the shit that I do, and I'm just like, I'm exhausted, like, and excuse me, it's just, I need to think a little bit more about you as well. And when I do that, because I think a lot of times people don't do that, they don't necessarily think about the other person and how they're feeling, is when I kind of come back down to earth. And I'm like, Matt's going through this too. He has 3 kids and he's busy as fuck and he's tired and all this stuff. And instead I just think like, oh, well, he gets to go and play monster trucks on the floor while I clean up the kitchen or whatever, rather than thinking to myself, how great is it that I have a guy that wants to sit on the ground and play monster trucks while I'm cleaning up the kitchen, And these are things that, again, like you've made a couple comments saying you think the podcast is good for our relationship because we end up talking. And I agree, because you might not necessarily hear that from me, on a random conversation, but I'm saying it now. And that I do appreciate everything that you do. And
tugs a ring off over there.
No, I'm just playing with it. But yes, I get it. I get that you miss me. And truth be told, I write about it on my Instagram and I say something like, I've swam out to the sea of motherhood, and it's hard to swim back into shore. I'm literally like looking out and I'm like, where is the shoreline? I'm out here and I'm freaking half drowning, kind of enjoying the waves and enjoying it sometimes, but also like, where am I going? Right. And you lose yourself in motherhood sometimes. You find so many wonderful things about it, and you've loved like you've never loved before. Like I've never experienced a love and like that, but also like I've lost myself too. You're sitting here saying you miss Sheridan, and I'm trying to take little steps to get back into who I was, although I don't think I'll ever be that person again. I don't
be a new version of you.
Right. But I'd like to work towards a version that I love and that my kids love. And like, I know my kids love me, and I know they feel secure and they feel safe, and mom is lovely. But you can always grow, and I'd like to be a couple other things too.
But the point of me saying this isn't for you to look in the rearview mirror and go like, I need to be old Sheridan again. The point of me saying this is to like look ahead and turn the high beams on and look at the future of your life,
right,
and figure out where your happiness resides ahead of you, and making sure that you're like taking the right steps by yourself to make sure that you're collecting those smiles every day.
No, I
is
know.
what I'm saying. And when you're happy,
I don't know about
there's
you.
an old saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Yeah. And when you're struggling, it sucks to say it, but like the rest of us go down with you. Yeah. Like you are like the men's the captain of the ship.
Right.
And the woman is holding the helm of this ship. And I think they probably are in a lot of the homes. Because in some sort of a weird way too, it's almost like their husbands are kind of like their baby too at some point. It's kind of this weird thing, but yeah, I mean, if you are this family's rock.
I think sometimes I just have a hard time, even myself, I don't know, like when I say I have a hard time balancing being a wife, being a mother, being a woman with a career, I do, because it's really hard to be good at all of those things simultaneously at once, right? Like I can be super into the kids and doing an amazing job and having fun and taking them out on dates and doing this and doing that, but then I'm like, oh snap, then there's Matt, and then oops, here's my work that needs to get done. Like it's so hard to do it all and do it all really well. So then maybe I just kind of like, I don't know, 50% average it on all things. I don't know. And of course, I'm just being hard on myself too. You're your worst critic. Like I'm a good mom. I'm a good wife.
Amazing mother.
I'm good at my job.
You are.
That I But then there's also just like a line of just like, I don't know, is this where I am? For anybody that's not watching, I'm just doing a flat line instead of peaking and all these amazing things. Like, I don't know the answer to that.
But so that poses the question. You're good at all those things, but you know what you didn't say?
What?
You're just good at being yourself. You're good for yourself, your own mental health.
I remember.
So if you're depressed laying down at night and you're just kind of, dragging your feet all day and everything, then what good is any of those other things? Because at the end of the day, you have to be content with your own heart and where you are in life.
I don't think that I'm depressed. I know depression runs in my family, so I keep a close eye on it. It's definitely there. And I do think that in the pandemic and when I was pregnant that I absolutely struggled with situational depression, seasonal depression, whatever we're going to call it. There were many days where I remember you saying, Sheridan, go for a drive. And I literally did not want to. Yeah. And I've never experienced that before where I'm like, no, I don't want to. Or you'd say, go out for dinner with your friends. I'd rather just sleep. That's when I'd rather just go lie up in bed. Can you just leave me alone? Yeah. And I'm not in that phase at all now. Like, I'm genuinely content. I feel good. I go to bed. I read my book. We put the kids down, whatever. I'm not sitting there thinking like, this is such a task. Brushing my teeth is a task. Getting out of bed is a task. I don't feel that way. And from the depression that I've experienced in the past, that's what that felt like. It's such a heavy weight that it's hard to just do anything at all. And that's not how I feel at this exact moment. I just feel like I'm not in my best place. And like you said, self-love is so, you said I'm not talking about myself. That is so important because I can think back, like sometimes I think of my Instagram as a bit of a diary and I can think back to when I was feeling great and I was posting all these pictures and saying like, I am loving myself right now. I have never felt better. And everything else is feeling good and looking good for that reason. And you can see it written all over my face and you can see it within the way that I do things and the way that I work and the way that I parent and everything. Like when I'm good, everything's good, as you just stated. So I guess it's on me to try and figure out what the hell is going on right now.
It is.
Yeah. You want to talk about our note?
Well,
I keep bringing it up. You don't want to say it.
No, I mean, a lot of that stuff we probably covered anyway, but I think
right now too, like if I were to really think deep down, when I was peeing the other day, and again, please remember that Matt and I don't actually have a door to our bathroom in our room. So I was just sitting there peeing. I think I was changing my tampon, to be honest. You're just watching me like, cause we were chatting. Right. And, you said something. Oh my gosh. What did you say? Now I'm losing my train of thought and imagining you changing my tampon with you just standing there. What did you say?
Was it funny? What was it?
No, I'm going to have to come back to it because it was good. Crap. Ugh, I hate when that happens.
Well, what I was going to say is that with all this being said, when you're not looking after yourself, mm-hmm. you're bringing a less great version of yourself to the table for your husband, for your children, for your work, for the everybody that you coexist with. Mm-hmm. But if you are happy and looking after yourself and your mental health, then you're bringing like 90, 100, 110% to the table every day. And you're bringing the best version of you to those moments that you get to spend with the family and your friends and stuff.
And do you feel like you're in a great place right now?
I think I have a lot of highs and lows in life. My highs are highs and my lows are very low, but I feel like if you took my average line, it's a pretty high average line. Like I think, like my favorite song ever, Bob Marley, 3 Little Birds. Don't worry.
You're an interesting person though, because
every little thing is gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I really like think about that often. I think about that song all the time, and I'll look outside of the window all the time and see 3 little birds dancing around, and I just try to appreciate the little things. And I know that, I'm 37 years old now, I think. 37.
I think so too.
And I'm like, man, I'm getting up there. Time's just flying. If I did that again, I'd be 70, 74 years old. If I did that one more time, I'm 74. At that point, I'm going to need like a replacement hip and like,
74 is not that old anymore.
No, but
okay?
you know what I mean.
70 back in the day was like, whoa. And now it's like, all right, 74 is still young.
For sure. If you live a good life and take care of yourself and all those things. But That means if I do every day that I've lived on this earth one more time,
Yeah.
double them up, I'm 74 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've just watched this time just fly and fly and fly. And I'd rather spend my time just collecting as many smiles as I can. Mm-hmm. I said this to someone the other day, like I've almost turned into Jim Carrey yes man.
Yeah.
I've been really trying to say yes to as many things as I can. Like regardless if I want to do it, if I don't want to do it, I've been really trying to just be like, yeah, let's do it. Like going to Magic Mountain for the second time when the first one got canceled and all that shit, and then like paying to go to Magic Mountain again. When
it's really funny how like whoever you decide to spend your life with makes you change yourself as a human no matter what. Like I could have ended up with somebody that wouldn't have gone to Magic Mountain, and then I would just be like, yeah, let's just go home, right? Like it's just interesting how you spend so much time with that person that you kind of like form into who they are. You know, like when all of a sudden people have been together for so long, they literally look the same. Yeah. How does that actually happen? Like I see, like when they first got together, I'm like, and then by the end of it, I'm like, you guys look like you're related. It's crazy. Like, how does that work?
But they don't change. People are attracted to people that look like themselves because they like themselves. It's a real thing.
No, I know that.
It's not like it always happens.
Right.
But if you go on Facebook and look at the couples on Facebook, you'll kind of see a trend. People like.
No, I know.
Looking at people that they...
And actually, I even find, too, like, if I were to say, like, you know, when it's like, oh, who do you think is, like, your crush towards the same gender? Like, the people that you like, that you're attracted to. I always find it's people that I look like. Like Ashley Graham is a great example. Long brown hair, like olivey kind of skin. You know, like there's just certain things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of like the way you look because I kind of look like you. I just like the way you look a little better, maybe. So that's why I'm. You know what I mean?
That was like the other day when you were scrolling through my photos on my phone. You see that like shirtless dude that's tattooed up, and you're like, what? You said something. You're like,
yeah.
You're like, wait, you like his tattoos or something? Like, no, Sharon, I just like him. I was like, yeah, I like the way his tattoos were and shit. But like, we have like a.
Should we do a side by side?
Minus the 8-pack.
Should we do a side by side?
But like, I think I kind of look like that guy a little bit, and I was like, I like the way he tattooed. What are you laughing about? Okay, he's a total hunk. I got it. But
so are you. But I don't think he had hair, didn't he? Like I think you guys looked.
Really, that was the line of this.
I feel like you looked. I have to see him again. I don't think he had a beard. Like what was similar?
I don't know. I liked his tattoos. I was like, all right, I want to get that style tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the point of me even saying that?
I don't know. We were talking about looking the same.
Okay, I had a major crush on him. He looked like me, all right?
I quickly want to touch on something. Matt probably doesn't even know I want to bring this up, but when I was on my Instagram, hold on, I wish I could find it. When there's this app now. I don't know why in my brain I was like, this is a great idea. Let's ask these questions.
NGL or something like that?
Yeah, it's called NGL. I don't know what it means, but...
Not gonna lie.
Oh, that makes sense. Not gonna lie.
Is that what it is?
Hold on a sec. Crap. I lost it, Matt. It's gonna take me a second. I'm trying to find one of the ones.
Okay, well here, I'll throw a random question at you then while you're looking.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What?
Remember I told you there was a funny story from Ottawa that I...
Oh yeah, what was that?
Should I even get into it?
Why? Is
No,
the one
maybe
at
I'll dodge
Bridgehead?
it. Maybe I'll dodge it.
Why?
I'll dodge it.
Okay.
I can see it going sideways.
Okay, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Who's a star you have a crush on?
Who's a star?
Who already went through your head?
Well, what kind of crush? I need to know if this is a crush that's the singer or an actor. You are Han from Hero ET.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Kind of a similar vibe.
Kaya actually said that today in the car because they were watching the Jumanji trailer, and Kaya goes, "Mommy has a crush on him," and she looked at me and said, "I said, yeah, you're right, I do," and she goes, "Well, is it on him or Justin Bieber?" And I said, "Who do you think?" She goes, "Justin Bieber." I'm like,
oh my God. Sure, find whatever you're looking for.
I can't find it, but basically what it said and what somebody wrote to me was that after listening to the podcast, I'm just going to go on a rant here for a minute. After listening to the podcast, okay, no, that's not how it started. She said, I used to think that Matt was so amazing and incredible. And after listening to the podcast, like from your Instagram. And after listening to the podcast, my feelings have changed a little bit. And I think that Matt's a little bit judgmental, and that makes me really sad, was what it said. And
yeah, that's what you were spending all the time looking for?
yeah, but I couldn't find the exact wording.
You just about did it word for word.
Okay.
I saw it.
Yeah, and I toggled between saying this to Matt or not, because he's very sensitive and emotional, and that's great. That's actually one of my favorite qualities about you. But I have been no, hold on now.
Yeah, sorry.
I have been doing this social media online stuff for like 7 years now, and I have received messages that are not kind, that not even that wasn't kind, but that are very unkind. I've received some of those. I've received other messages, like actually somebody in that, not gonna lie, that's what we're gonna call it now, app also said, I think that you need to give your kids more privacy. I saw Sage having a meltdown at hop, skip, jump, and that's just not okay. Things like that. And that just flies off of my shoulder at this point, right? Like, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I could see why you could feel that way. I understand your point of view, but this is what I do. Like, I moved along from that very quickly. It didn't even like leave a sour taste in my mouth, you know? Mm-hmm. But for Matt, I decided to tell him, and he actually took it really well. And I said to him, because I had been thinking about it, and I said, and I still feel really strongly about this, that my whole Instagram has been based on our relationship. I mean, it trickles into other things too, but I've always talked about you, and not every other influencer has done that and like honed in on their partner and made them also a co-star of the show, right? It's always just kind of been like, there's my partner, happy birthday to them, move along. But I've shown a lot about you and talked a lot about you and showed text messages and done a lot. And I said to you before we even started this podcast, I literally said, now you're going to have to step up your game, because everybody has this idea of who you are. You haven't opened your mouth. You haven't said a word yet. They're just seeing cute pictures of you with the kids, cute things that you've sent me. And of course, they're going to have this wonderful image of you because you've never said or done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. So that message makes so much sense to me. Like, once I thought about it, because at first I was like, oh shit, like, is Matt a judgmental guy? And then I thought about it like, you have a right to your opinions. You are who you are. You speak the way you speak. And maybe people, you know, like when you read a book, like, you know, when you read a book and you have this idea of what the character is going to look like, then you see the movie and you're like,
create a,
and you create the greatest, most sexiest person, let's just say, for example, and then the movie comes out and you're like, what the fuck? That's not what I thought this guy was going to be.
Dude, yeah.
Exactly. I refused to even watch that movie because I had somebody totally different in my brain. And so I think that happened to a lot of people when this podcast started. It could have gone one way or the other. Like, I also received messages like, I didn't think Matt was that kind of guy. He's hilarious. He's so outgoing. I thought he was going to be a quiet guy. Like, so vastly different, right?
Yeah.
But when we got that message, I was just like, you know what, that it makes sense when you deep dive into it. And perhaps, and they didn't even say it in a mean way. They just said it makes them sad. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, she said, I used to think Matt was such a great guy when he was on your Instagram, but after watching the show,
my opinion's changed.
My opinion has changed. He's very judgmental.
Yeah.
Boo or something
and
like that.
And that makes me sad. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But go ahead. No, go
well,
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's not for everybody. I mean,
yeah.
I
think you are an intense person too, and I'm sure a lot of people.
This is me over here tired.
Yeah.
This is like
this is the
Matt's
lowest
best.
of the lowest Matt's ever been.
I you know, I'm trying to think of what exactly how to articulate this, but I mean, I wish I was almost making bullet points here going through that, but I think if I come across a certain way on this show, I think a part of what makes a show interesting is having opinions on things.
Right.
Like if we sat down here and you were like, "Nice day out, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is nice now that you said it." Like we have to almost take our feelings about things and kind of exaggerate them a little bit to make an interesting show that people like.
Right.
I think you're a very authentic person, and so am I. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of what the lore is to this show, is that we sit down and we've been talking now for 53 minutes. And this whole thing started with me ready to flip the table over. I was in such a freaking bad mood coming down here, but I hit record and make myself vulnerable on here so that people can enjoy it and it's relatable and stuff. My highs are high, my lows are low. I don't think I'm an overly judgmental person. I don't think.
I don't know if I would say that the word judgmental
I'm
is the right word.
opinionated.
Yes.
I'm very opinionated about things.
We dialed that back on the show.
But the judgmental thing's a little bit of a weird word, and I don't know, maybe I am. It could be because of the tattoo comment that I made, but again, like we're hitting record and going and freestyling through this. I might say something stupid that I regret, and if you watch the next episode, I actually apologize for like 10 straight minutes sincerely about it. But a judgmental person, I love so many people in this world. Like, I really do. If you watch me on a day-to-day basis, like, I'm the first person to walk down the road and give people money that need help. I mean, oh, my God. Like, you see me in every store we go in. I walk into Starbucks, and I don't just order my drink. I make conversation with the person behind the counter. Like, everywhere I go, I think I'm like a beacon of light and fun to be around and stuff. Right. So, like, judgmental is kind of a weird one. Opinionated, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you don't like me, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, not everybody likes everybody, right? Like, that's just the way of life. Not everybody's going to like you. And that actually took me a while to learn because I used to be so obsessed. Like, even when I would fight with people in high school, my mom's like, Sheridan, all I ever wanted to do was get everybody to be happy and to like me. And then I've learned, like, social media has really made me learn this, that not everybody's going to like me. Absolutely not. There's probably people that watch this and are like, oh, my God, those guys are annoying. Like, definitely. And that's just how it goes. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's just what it is. That's the reality. But like, are you a great person with a good heart? Yes. Are you maybe, like you said, a little bit, up and down? What was the word you said again? Opinionated, for sure. And I really do think I really liked my point about how people had this idea of you, and then you came into it, and you did put yourself in a vulnerable position because, like you said, I've just been blowing you up and making you seem like the literal. Well, there's nowhere you could have gone but down, to be honest. From where the pedestal that I put you on Instagram, I'm serious. Like, you came into this, and it's like there's really nowhere you could have gone except for like maybe on the same wavelength and somebody thinking like you're way more awesome than you thought that they thought you were. But otherwise, it's just like,
I think if people actually knew what was at stake for me, they'd probably have a lot of respect for it. I've made myself very vulnerable with this show. I operate a business. I have clients that pay me shit tons of money to do things, and I decide to put a microphone in front of my face and freestyle talk for 90 minutes a week. Right. Like, I think something I could say about myself is that I would say I'm the same person to everybody I'm around, except maybe my grandmother. If I'm around my grandmother, I might kind of tweak my verbiage around things a little bit. But I think that my clients know me as Matthew the same way that the people will on this show. And I wear my heart on my sleeve all the time. Like, I have no poker face. My brother wants me to play poker when we go up to the college in a couple weeks. I'm like, Mike, I ain't playing poker. I can't lie about shit. I'll tell you exactly what's in my hand. It's just who I am. So if I rub people the wrong way on here, like, I guess I was going to say I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry remotely. I mean, I guess I just am who I am. I have a heart of gold, I like to think. And I've spent my entire life helping people and loving people, and that's just who I am. So, I don't know. When I read it, it's funny because I saw you texting Daphne and saying, like, should I tell him? And Daphne was like, I don't know, or whatever. And it's like, you guys, what, you thought I'd be like super offended by that? I mean, it definitely made me think, like, what did I say on the show that would have someone think I'm that judgmental? But I don't know.
Well, I mean, you also pride yourself a lot on this show, and you really enjoy it, and you take pride in doing it, like you do with everything that you do for a living, right? That's one of your biggest qualities, is that you take everything and run with it 100%. So, like,
all or nothing.
Yeah. So to hear that, and again, there was also other, not gonna lie, things that said, like, I love the podcast, this is so great. But it's funny how you end up taking the one that's kind of right? That's always how it works. You get all these amazing compliments. Like, somebody would send me all these nice comments, and somebody else would be like, that sucks. And you're like, it sucks? When you have 99% of people that are saying it's great.
Think about this, though. Let's say you had 100 comments and 99 of them were people shitting on you, and then that one person was like, I absolutely love everything about it. You would, like, hone in on that comment.
No, I don't know about that. You would. I like your positivity, though, hon. So I still have not eaten.
You're such a bitch.
What was
that? Was being a judgmental jerk.
I don't get it.
Maybe is that you?
That was not funny.
That was a complete joke.
I'm hungry. It's 1:30. I haven't eaten yet. And
is that all it is? 1:30?
Yeah.
Wow.
This episode was good. I mean, we started with a little bit of a disagreement. We came back and restarted it, and we talked a lot about me and our relationship and you and us as parents and stuff. And like I said, I mean, my favorite messages I think that I've received from this podcast so far, beyond like great job, I'm really enjoying it, is when people say, I was in the car and I'm nodding along to it, like, yep, I can relate to that. And I like that, because, you know, this world is a really big, crazy place, and to be able to find people that you can connect with and think like, yeah, I feel less alone, then I feel like I'm doing my job, you know? Mm-hmm. And that makes me really happy. So hopefully people listening back on this and hearing about me struggling and how I'm wondering, like, what can I do? And us talking about our relationship and stuff like that makes them feel less alone with what they're going through. And so I think that we succeeded.
I hope.
And I love you.
But I think
we always ended off by saying I love you, because it is very important, and we do love each other very much.
The only time you say it on the show.
Yeah.
But I totally agree. Like, I think we're still finding our place with this show, and it's kind of turned into this little slice of life kind of thing. When you look at the feedback that we've gotten in the comments and the DMs and stuff, like, I think the one thing that there seems to be like echoing a lot of is people saying it's just nice and relatable, and I think that's great. I love that. I love that we can just sit down, shoot the shit, and not really filter anything out. It just kind of is what it is, and people kind of sit there and relate to it because it's just real talk.
And with what I do for a living, I think people, and it makes no sense, and I will never understand it, but I guess I could kind of understand it if I think really outside of the box, is that people might have this persona of me and think these things of us because of the following that I have, right? There's something weird that as soon as you like tack on an amount of followers, or you make a movie and you become a little bit more famous, people have this idea like it's unattainable. You're an unreachable person. You know, they just have all these ideas of what you're like, but we're not like that at all. And I think that the podcast is really great because it gives people the insight to realize that we're literally just two humans. And aren't we all? Aren't we all that?
Yeah.
That's all we are.
Should we talk about Top Gun before we get off here? Well,
Wow, that was a great movie. Matt had to go 2 times.
I feel like we could really talk about Top Gun for a sec before we get off here. We always end the show on like a lighthearted thing. Should we talk about Top Gun? What'd you think about it?
Yeah, so Matt went to go see it with our friend Antoine, and he came home, and like I think he like woke me up, or maybe I was still awake, and you're like, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. And I was genuinely kind of upset that I didn't go, because I knew if you said to Antoine, this is a Sheridan movie, she needs to go.
Yeah, had everything that you would love in a movie.
So when we went to Ottawa, my mom was staying, we were staying at my mom's place, so we got all the kids down, and we went to a late show at 9:20, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be tired. But we got there, and first of all, the movie theater, like, was it out of the Matrix? It didn't even make sense. We walked in, and I was like, where am I? Outer space? Like, it was so well laid out now. I don't know what the heck's going on there, but
I can tell you what's going on.
But they don't have,
jump in.
But we don't have these in Halifax yet.
Well, so basically what's going on is no one goes to the movie theaters anymore.
Yeah.
So the movie theaters are all trying to do a big pivot and trying to figure out how to make it more of an experience going to theaters, because everyone has a big TV at home now.
Well, it felt like one.
So it did.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Like, the snack bar was lit.
Well,
like,
and then,
everything.
so when I was ordering the tickets, it only had rows like A, B, C, D, E, F. And I was like, that's weird. I wonder if all the other seats are taken, and it's only the ones left right at the front where you have to like crank your neck up. So I ordered the ones furthest away, assuming, and then we get there and I was like, oh wow, they've redone all the theaters where they're so much smaller now, and you have like the lazy boy experience and stuff. So we were able to scoot up because we got back there and I was like, this is really horrible. We went up to the front, we watched the movie, and it was amazing.
So we'll keep this relatively spoiler free, but what did you love about the movie? Like, why did you like it so much? Because before you answer that, this movie is defying the laws of film. It doesn't make sense. Top Gun Maverick. Why is everybody loving this movie? Critics, people, kids, everyone loves it.
Well,
why is it?
I think, well, first of all, it made me feel warm inside, which sounds dorky, but like I felt cozy the entire movie. There was nothing like cold about it. Maybe because they were out in the sun a lot and it felt warm, like literally warmth.
That's your reason?
That's my first take on it, that I felt cozy in the theater, which I actually think it sounds ridiculous.
It's kind of shot vintagey a little bit.
Yes.
Like, did you notice when the planes were landing at the start and everything, like the color leaks and everything in the film?
I
and there
did.
was like some grain to it.
I did.
It did feel kind of warm. I know what you you mean.
I think Tom Cruise is just a person that people have seen for so long that he's also kind of a comforting actor to watch.
He crushed
Yeah,
it.
he did an amazing job.
Actually think about it. Like,
Right.
stop for 5 seconds and think about Tom Cruise's job in that.
Right. Because he does all of his own stunts and
Oh
stuff
my
too,
God.
right?
No, but just like how, like, really think about everything from the opening scene, you know, the one in the plane.
Right.
And then, like, think about all the underdog stuff. And just think about how he handled it and how he actually made you feel.
I think it was cool too how they
So
really
good.
brought in the first film. I actually want to go back and watch it because I have not seen it in years.
Yeah, me neither.
But how they tie that in perfectly. You're right. I remember when you came home, you're like, it feels like you literally were in the airplane with them. Just like all you hear is like the breaths that they're taking
Yeah.
and like it feels like you're like on the edge of your seat, right? Like what is going to happen? It was an amazing movie. And anybody that's listening to this and that has not seen it, I highly suggest you go and watch it because I don't think anyone would come back being like, sucky. Like everyone would say they love it.
Okay, so I've thought about this a lot,
Okay.
as you know, because like as we're hanging out with people all
Right.
summer, I keep bringing up Top Gun
Yeah.
and seeing if they've seen it. You know what it is?
Tell me.
It's a lot of things, but you know, I think it's a story that probably really resonates with everyone who's kind of. I'm trying to think how to word this. So like I'm almost 40 years old now, and I've been doing graphic design now for a long time.
Yeah.
And now there's all these like young cats now that are doing new shit and they know like 3D applications like Cinema 4D and stuff that I don't really know how to do it. We weren't taught that in school and stuff. Like I'm getting up there. I mean, I'm probably in my prime,
Right.
but you know, it's going to
Yeah.
get to that point where as I start getting in there like 47, 48, hitting 50 and stuff where it's like, this guy's washed up. Like, let's go do this shit now. Like, you know what I mean? And Tom Cruise in that movie, he was like the oldest pilot. And he was kind of this underdog story, right? Because all the new guys in there and all the new women and stuff were coming up and they were all looking at him like, this guy's a clown now. I mean, he's washed up and like, we're the Top Guns now. And you got to see this story of this man who's like getting up there in his age and he was told to let go. Where's your badges? How come you're
Yeah.
still flying a plane and not one of us with the like 300
Yeah.
little chest things
Yeah.
on and everything? And the way that Tom Cruise acted throughout that whole movie, like he carried that whole movie. Without Tom, there's no movie. Like he crushed it, and he made you feel like, you know, we got this. As we're like getting older and shit, it's like I think if you stay true to who you are and do what you love to do in this world, that, you know, you don't stop trying to like cater to what everybody else thinks that you should be in this world. You remember there was, I don't want to spoil him, but there was numerous times in the movie where like he got like a talking to from some
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
generals and
Yeah.
stuff like that about like why this and why
Right.
this. And he was like, this is where I belong.
Right.
Just doing what he loved to do.
Right.
And then you watch him throughout the whole movie and who was like, I can't say this without spoiling.
We're
but,
gonna
like,
go see it again. No.
So great. Man, what a movie. Like, it was like they really made you care. Like, sure, there's like a battle going on and there's like some really cool plane scenes and they blow shit up and fly fast and the plane scenes are like mind-boggling. But like the lining, the thread that kind of like that holds the whole movie together is actually this story of this guy who is considered too old to be doing this stuff now, like kind of a joke in the industry. But like he prevailed because he's passionate about something and loves what he does. And like that, I think, is why that movie like really resonated with me, because I do what I love and like I always stay focused on my dreams and my goals and like my task list and just making sure that I'm being me. And I think that's why it probably resonates with a lot of people, because it kind of gives you hope when other people doubt you that you can, you know what I mean?
I love that.
Man, what a movie. I need to see it again.
Yeah.
It was so freaking good. Top Gun Maverick is like honestly one of the best movies I've ever
This is when
ever
that song
seen.
should ride in at the end when they're driving out with Lady Gaga. Hold my hand. We'll put that on, guys.
Oh my God, that was Lady Gaga.
Yes, that song's on the radio right now. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so hot because the fan is not pointed on me now. It's pointed on you. So let's go. And
Let's keep talking about Top Gun. Oh my God.
thanks for tuning in, everyone. It always means a lot to us. Here I am.
Hit the like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah, we made 24 cents in revenue so far.
We did. We
And
should
we
talk about that.
are loving that. Matt sends me a message and he goes, Sheridan, we've made 24 cents. That's cool.
Yeah, because
I'm like, that is cool.
well, we just got approved for monetizing YouTube,
Yeah.
which is super cool. Thanks everybody that's been a part of this. In order to monetize YouTube, you need at least 1,000 subscribers, and you have to pass 4,000.
Sorry, 24 cents. I think I said 25.
And you have to pass 4,000 hours of watch time.
Yeah.
And we hit that milestone a couple weeks ago and got all approved by YouTube and everything. And so like it just kicked in yesterday. Everything just kicked in, and we made 24 cents yesterday. Maybe we can go buy 24 penny candies.
We will
with
continue
inflation.
on this
That's
journey.
like 4 of them.
Yes, so true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Like, subscribe. Thank you.
Hell
Episode
yeah.
9, I think
Yeah,
that
I don't
was.
even know where we're at anymore.
Okay, bye.
Love you, babe.
Love you too.
I think.
It's the Two Gems Podcast.